The smarter you are, the more likely you are to get stuck. Not despite your intelligence. Because of it. Somewhere right now, a brilliant person is making the same mistake they made 5 years ago, and their intelligence is the reason they can't see it. You're the one who double-checks the email before sending it. Then checks it again. You know the answer, but you research it one more time anyway. You were the smart kid in school, the one people expected things from. And somewhere along the way, you stopped taking the risk that would have proven it. You tell yourself you're being careful. You're actually being scared. By the end of this video, you'll understand the hidden psychological mechanism that traps smart, capable people in the exact same rut for years, and the specific mindset shift some of the sharpest performers use to escape it. Here's what almost everyone believes: the more expertise you gain, the better your decisions become. More knowledge, better outcomes. It sounds obvious. It's incomplete, and in some cases, it's backwards. Management researcher Eric Dane studied this and found something uncomfortable. As people gain deep expertise, they become rigid inside that expertise. Experts often overlook the better solution to a problem when a familiar, less optimal one is sitting right in front of them. The sharper your mental model, the harder it becomes to see outside it. Your brain built a highway. Now it can't find the side street. But here's where it gets stranger. This isn't a flaw in unskilled people. It's a flaw that only shows up after someone becomes good at something. Mind from going dull. Take professional sports coaching. There's a pattern researchers point to when they talk about this: elite coaches often decline after 10 to 15 years at the top. Not from aging. Not from laziness. From entrenchment, their once sharp system stopped updating. Now here's the deeper layer. Psychologist Ari Kruglansky identified something called need for cognitive closure, a person's discomfort with uncertainty, and how badly they want an answer, any answer, just to make the discomfort stop. People high in this trait gather information fast, then stop early. They trade precision for speed. They lean on gut heuristics instead of patient thinking. Smart, stuck people usually aren't overthinking. They're rushing to a false certainty, and then defending it like it's a fact. This creates a paradox. The people most equipped to make long-term decisions are often the worst at making them. A study building on Kruglansky's work found that high-closure thinkers are more risk-averse and more likely to grab a smaller reward now instead of a bigger one later. The safe, known path beats the better, uncertain one, every time. This often starts early. Research on gifted children shows something specific: they tend to explain their success as coming from who they are, not what they did. So when they eventually fail, and everyone eventually fails, it doesn't feel like a mistake. It feels like proof they were never actually smart. The identity cracks, not just the result. So the brain does something clever and self-destructive. It's called self-handicapping, deliberately creating an excuse for failure in advance, so a bad result never has to touch the identity. Overcommitting to distractions. Underpreparing on purpose. Endless rechecking that looks like diligence but is actually delay. It protects the ego. It destroys the growth. Here's a number worth remembering. In one study of a couple hundred gifted high schoolers, the students who self-handicapped were nearly 4.5 times more likely to be maladaptive perfectionists than those who didn't. It's one study, not a universal law, but it's a striking signal. Perfectionism isn't the cure for this pattern. It's often the engine running underneath it. So follow this pattern forward. Not tomorrow. Years from now. After 1 year, it's a habit you don't notice: the checking, the safe choice, the project you quietly didn't start. After 5 years, it's a reputation. The person everyone still calls promising. Still. After all this time. After 10 years, it's not a behavior anymore. It's an identity. You're not someone who avoided a risk once. You're someone who became the kind of person who doesn't take them. This is how brilliant people quietly disappear into their own potential. Put these threads together and you get a loop worth naming: the certainty cage. Stage 1, Mastery. You get genuinely good at something. Stage 2, certainty. Your brain builds a fast, confident model. It stops questioning itself. Stage 3, self-protection. Any risk that could break the model feels like a threat to your identity, not just a bad outcome. Stage 4, stagnation. You now defend the cage instead of testing it. And because you're smart, you're extremely good at justifying why staying inside it is the wise choice. You don't escape the cage by trying harder. You escape it by doubting on purpose. Dane's own writing points to the way out, deliberately stepping into unfamiliar situations, doubting your own default approach, and updating based on new evidence. Some researchers summarizing this idea call it optimal doubt, enough doubt to force an update, not so much that it turns into anxiety. Here are 4 ways to break the cage. First, schedule deliberate doubt. Once a week, pick one belief or method you're certain about and actively argue against it. Certainty stops your brain from updating, scheduled doubt forces the update. Write the belief down, then write 3 real reasons it could be wrong. The common mistake is doing this only when things go wrong, by then it's defense, not doubt. Within a month, you start noticing outdated assumptions before they cost you. Second, take the beginner rep. Deliberately do something in your field of expertise in an unfamiliar way. Entrenchment lives in autopilot, unfamiliar methods force the brain back online. Once a week, solve a familiar problem using a method you've never used before. The common mistake is choosing something easy that doesn't actually challenge the default pattern. Your obvious solutions stop feeling automatic, and start feeling examined. Third, separate the result from the identity. Before starting anything risky, write one sentence: if this fails, it means the attempt didn't work, not that I'm not capable. This is the exact belief gifted underachievers often lack, it's what helps prevent self-handicapping. Say it out loud before high-stakes attempts, not just think it. The common mistake is only doing this after failing, when it reads as self-soothing instead of pre-framing. Failure stops being evidence against you and starts being information for you. Fourth, kill one checking ritual. Identify one recurring, recheck behavior, the email, the plan, the decision, and cut it to one pass. Checking rituals are often self-handicapping in disguise, not diligence. Set a hard rule: one review, then send, submit, or decide. The common mistake is replacing the ritual with a new form of stalling, like researching instead. Decisions get made faster, and you discover most of the checking was never necessary. The people who eventually escape the certainty cage don't do it with more motivation. They do it by becoming the kind of person who treats doubt as data, not danger. They stop protecting the version of themselves that's already smart, and start building the version that's still growing. The smartest people in the room aren't the ones who never doubt themselves. They're the ones who've learned that doubt, used correctly, is the only thing that keeps a sharp mind from going dull.